Awesome. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Mike with Clear Admit, and today we have a really awesome session for you all in joint with Carnegie Mellon University's Tepper School of Business and their MS in Product Management, which is a fantastic degree program that does not start this fall. So for you who are coming in thinking, I have a lot of time, I can really make a lot of long-term decision making. You may not have to do that. You can do that and you can start in 2027, but I can have you start in 2026 by the end of today's session with this awesome panel that we have represented by different students in the program who can talk all about their experience and all about the different things that they are learning in that program. One last note about Clear Admit, if you don't know about us and you're joining us for the first time, we are a business school applicant resource website. We have a lot of great tips and tricks and advice on all things business school admissions, especially at the master's level. So if anybody is interested in learning more about the process or getting some tips and tricks on your application materials like essay writing or resume building or all those fun things, come and join us on our platform. It's all free to use and free to utilize. That's all I'll say about us. You can check us out whenever you want, clearmit.com. Now I'm going to pass it over to Brad with Carnegie Mellon, who can then introduce your panel, Brad. And again, thanks for joining us and doing this. And this will be an interactive session. If you do have questions today, audience, feel free to throw them into the chat, throw them into the Q&A. We will tackle them later on. Brad, I pass it off to you.
Thanks, Mike. I'm Brad Eiben. I'm the Executive Director of the MS in Product Management program here at Carnegie Mellon. And before we get to the stars of the show, which are the other panelists, I'm just here to give the nuts and bolts. I would like for everyone, all you beautiful product people, to join me in a thought experiment. Imagine you want to be a product manager. That's your goal. You've been thinking about it for a long time. You've read Cracking the Interview like 5 or 6 times, sent out 100 resumes, finally get that call for an interview. First thing they hit you with is, what's your training and do you have experience? It's a super common problem that aspiring PMs have, and it's exactly what our program is designed to solve for. And I'm going to before we get to the panelists and the introductions, I'm going to take you through just a quick snapshot, an illustration of what this program is, because it's different than what you've seen elsewhere. 1 second as I bring up the screen. So we basically start with your background, your experience, where you've been, what you already know, your world, your experience in either the product world or related industries. And this can look like many different things. We have a lot of ex-developers in the program. We have data scientists, we have project managers, we have entrepreneurs, we have marketing people, CX people, UX people. And that's really where everybody starts individually from a different starting point. But that brings us to the pillars of the education and the program itself. And that starts with basically the basics are business education, technology, AI education, and leadership education. Now, the thing about these is there are many programs out there where you can be trained on business and technology, and that's not quite yet. These are fundamental needs and fundamental pillars to become a PM and be a great PM, but that's not where we're different quite yet. That brings us to our focus is also on design and UX, the human side of product management, which so few other degrees really adequately cover. And arguably, nobody covers all of these bases already, and we're not even done yet. The 5th pillar is experience. And I'm thrilled to be joined by current students because I know they're wrapping up their internships right now, and I know what they did, and it's amazing. I can say that with 100% confidence. So really, when you look at it in whole, this is what employers are looking for. They're looking for this array of skills, this breadth of skills, but also, have you proven yourself? Are we gambling on you, or have you practiced what you've learned? And that's where the MSPM is extremely different. The MS in product management, that is, we'll call it MSPM throughout the day, but that's where we're extremely different from other avenues. And a few specific details just to get them covered up front is this is a 1-year STEM degree. And as Mike mentioned at the beginning, we're ready for you to apply now. The application process is currently open for a January 2026 start date. So I know there's a lot of concerns with visas and getting into a fall program this year. This is the perfect opportunity to explore an MSPM degree. And like I said, when you look at the ROI and the differentiators as it relates to a 1 year investment versus others that are longer or perhaps delayed, it's a different game. It's really something to consider if you're interested in product management. And then for everybody, we'll show this at the end as well, but for everybody who's joining us today, if you'd like to apply with no fee, no application fee, the code to do that is CLEAR26 because we're at Clear Admit. The code is CLEAR26. Now, that's the boring stuff. Now the fun stuff. The great people on your screen right now are part of, three of them are students. One is our admissions lead. And I'll start with Carrie Calvario, who is that admissions lead.
Thanks, Brad. Hello, everyone. So thanks so much for joining us today, this evening, this morning. Saw somebody from Paris, so try not to be too jealous that your background is probably the Eiffel Tower right now, but want to extend my welcome as well. Tell you a little bit about the admissions process, but I won't be too much of a gatekeeper for these three students who I'm just as excited to hear about. I haven't heard about their internships yet, and so I'm super excited. I've heard good things, but just quickly about the admissions process, Brad mentioned we are a spring start program. And so we are actively reviewing applications. We will go through likely October-ish. We do always keep an eye out for those visa timelines. Just in every year we look at that. And so the sooner that we can onboard students in the fall for the states at least, the better. But we are actively reviewing applications. We actually have a formal round 3 still to come, which we are going to hopefully be able to provide some early decisions for, again, with an eye on getting folks who know they're coming and know they're interested, getting them onboarded as soon as possible. So it's a really unique position that we have, being a January start, in that there's a lot of the fall program, when the fall programs have kind of are getting ready to onboard. We are still totally ramped up as far as looking for applicants, interviewing, meeting with candidates, talking about them. Even if today's the first day that you're hearing about or hearing to this level about our MSPM program, you are not too late for a spring start. We certainly would welcome the opportunity to chat a little bit more, have you learn about it. But from an admissions lens, so I've been doing this a long time. I've been at Carnegie Mellon 11 years and have been here since the start of the MSPM program. So have been fortunate enough to, kind of be along for the ride that has been the growth of this program and being able to see the students who've come through. And I think what's really unique about this program is, if you take those first 3 pillars, that's the business school, right? And so then the second, mostly the third, or mostly that fourth, and then the fifth is kind of a combination, but that's the School of Computer Science and our Human Computer Interaction Institute. And so it's a really, really unique that you get the Tepper Business School curriculum. So you get top business school and you combine it with the top computer science school. And so you get that ability to have curriculum, faculty, resources, all of those things available to you. So I sit with the Tepper School of Business, but we work really closely with colleagues in the School of Computer Science as well when it comes to designing the admission process, the things that we're asking in interviews. Also, folks are set up to have a really successful time here. A year goes by really quickly. Ask these students that you're about to hear from. So it's quick. It's kind of shot out of a cannon a little bit, but hopefully, these students will tell you that they've got the resources that are able to support them. So just wanted to give a little bit of a quick, from an admissions standpoint, we are your point of contact here at the Tepper School. Myself and my team, we'll put our email address in the chat as well. Not for nothing, but we are humans answering the email, so you will get to hear back from somebody on my team if you've got specific questions. you're welcome to connect with any of us and talk about that. So whether you are just hearing about us for the first time today, whether you've heard about it but I haven't been super sure, whether you are all in and you're like, listen, I'm a round 3 applicant, I just wanted to kind of see you guys again. Know that at various stages, we've still got lots of time left in this admission cycle, and still keeping an eye on. We won't go too late into probably November, just so that our students don't feel rushed when it comes to visas, apartments, things like that. So that'll be the end of my spiel. Know that we would welcome your application. It's not the end. I lied. I take it back. The application itself, super simple. It's entirely online. That used to be more of a draw than it is these days, but entirely online, start to finish, probably only takes you about 30 minutes. You do need to allow some extra time to write an essay, identify one recommend or two recommenders, but start to finish, as far as like the things you have to key into your application, 30 minutes. You can start it, you can stop it, it'll auto save. So know that you don't have to invest this large chunk of time as far as completing the application. Certainly you want to take some thoughtful time to think about your essay and things like that, but wanted to plug that application as well. So now thank you, Mike. I am not AI. AI would be a little bit more eloquent than me, probably. That'll be it for admissions. I'm here the whole time. Send me your admissions questions. I can even be in the chat as other folks are talking. So I'm happy to learn more about you all and hopefully see all your applications come through. So now I'm done, Brad.
All right. That was way better than AI is capable of. All right, we'll go in order on my screen, maybe not everybody's screen. Hassaan, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Hi, guys. First of all, thank you, Mike, for having this, hosting this session, and Brad and Kerry for inviting all of us. My name is Hassaan Pasha. I am from Pakistan. I am an engineer by nature. I basically graduated as an electrical engineer, majored in embedded systems. This is a handshake of software and hardware. This is also something that got me into product management. I started my career at Tetra Pak as an engineer. I stayed there for 5 years. Then I moved to 3 different startups, one in Pakistan, one in Dubai, one in US. During this time, while I was in these startups, I felt there were some gaps that I wanted to address as a PM, and I found out about Carnegie's MSPM program. I was very fortunate to have received the admission, and I joined Carnegie Mellon. And then for my internship this summer, I went to Home Depot.
Thanks, Hassaan. Rupal?
Yeah, thanks, Brad. Thanks, Carrie, and thanks, Claire Admit, for doing this. And welcome to all the aspirants. I can feel the full circle moment here because I think last year I was pretty much, on the other side of the table. But yeah, so hi everyone, this is Rupal. I'm from India and hold a computer science degree my majors is in computer science as an undergraduate graduate degree from India. Post that, I have worked as a software engineer at Fidelity Investments for about 2 years. I enjoyed my time there, but I think that is when I realized that I am more interested in the business side of the things, and that's what motivated me to pursue my MBA with majors in marketing. After that, I have worked at Asian Paints. It's one of the leading home decor companies within Asia. And I have worked there as an e commerce marketing manager for almost about 3 years. And my time there has been phenomenal. I have learned a lot of things about business. The only thing I felt that was lacking, in my experience was technology, probably. And it's when, I realized that I need to meet my technology experience that I had as a software engineer and my business experience that I was having as a marketing manager. And I felt that product management sits somewhere, between these two major domains, and I came across MSPM as one of the fit for me. And that's when I applied to CMU. I applied for MSPM, and again, yes, fortunate enough to get into, and currently, yes, I'm part of a summer internship program at Solenis, where I'm majorly working on product strategy and marketing. Thank you.
Thanks, Rupal. Ankit?
Yeah, my turn. First of all, glad to see so many people from so many different geographies joining in for this session. So my name is Ankit Shukla. I come from a software engineering background. I'm from Hyderabad, India. My professional journey started off at Samsung as a software engineer. I worked there for around 6 years in the camera team. So I developed expertise in computer vision and AI. I was that engineer who all the managers were scared of. I used to ask a lot of questions, a lot of tough questions. And if someone came up with a requirement to me, I always ask, why are we doing this? Why not this? And I never started working on it unless I'm satisfied with their answers. So it took a lot of effort for my managers to answer my questions. And I could see that they were not happy. But guess what? Their managers, who was my director or my VPs, were happy that I was asking these questions. And whenever a new phone was released, since I was working on the Samsung camera, which goes as part of Samsung smartphones, I used to watch all the YouTube reviews from famous YouTubers like MKBHD and Mr. Who's the Boss and all of those people. And more importantly, I would look at the comment section to see what people are talking about, what features they like, what they dislike, and all of that. So this is something that excited me. It gave me that dopamine hit. And that is why I decided to pursue product management while being an engineer. Fast forward, I'm part of the MSPM program along with Rupal and Hassaan. And currently, I'm interning at ServiceLink. It's a financial services company in the mortgage solution space. I'm working on AI agents, agentic AI. We're building a platform that automates operational workflows. So, never ever imagined a financial services company working on agentic AI. But guess what? Technology is evolving at a rapid pace, and everyone wants to leverage that. So happy to be here. Happy to answer any questions that anyone have. And I'll also be on the chat section. If it's possible, I'll answer your queries there.
Thanks, Ankit. Yeah, I think that's something that we all have in common, as at least as ex-technical people, is we were either brave or stupid enough to ask why enough to annoy people, right? So just for the audience, please don't hesitate to share questions. That's really the best thing you can walk away from this discussion with, is understanding the journeys of especially these three panelists who are current students with us. But anything that you have, whether it's admissions related, whether it's related to their specific backgrounds or stories, that's why we're here. We hope that you take that away with you. Anything, we hope that you don't walk away with unanswered questions. Let's put it that way. So the starter, just to kind of establish the humanity of the product management experience, because I imagine there are at least two different types of people in the audience. There are those who are curious about product management in general. They might not yet know that it's for them. And then there are those who know that they want to be product managers or become more skilled as product managers, and they're looking for the right education or considering a degree. Let's start with the first group. For those that think maybe product management is for me, but I'm not sure, can you think of an aha moment in your own life where you knew that, okay, this is the direction I have to go? Ankit, you alluded to it a little bit, but was there a moment like, yeah, this is clearly where I belong?
Yeah, to continue on the story that I told earlier, I think there was a moment where I was working on a certain feature which went as part of a Samsung smartphone, S24 to be more specific. And then once it was released, I went on YouTube or Reddit and I saw the reviews for that feature, and I saw so many people happy. They're talking about the quality improvement. They're talking about how easy it is for them to capture photos with that, right? So that was when I got that happiness, I would say, or some sort of a dopamine hit where I felt like, oh, I created an impact, right? And I'm that kind of a person who always tries to make the world better, or try and change people's lives. So if I can create an impact in anyone's lives, if I can make it easier or better for them, then I'm always happy with that. So I think that was that moment where I realized, if I like it, and if that's something that excites me, then why am I coding? Like, I should be a product manager.
That's great motivation, and it's a common one too, changing the world. Hassaan, Rupal?
Yeah, I think I can add to it. So I actually, during my search, towards transitioning to product manager, when I was just trying to understand what does this role has, I just read a funny quote. So product managers are too businessish for engineers and too engineerish for business people. And I would say that I have experienced something very similar in my past experience. So when I was a software engineer, people would call me that, you should be on the business side because you have a good catch of understanding the problem or things like that. But when I was actually on the business side or on the marketing side, I think people told me that you have a knack for the technical things and you are too technical, to be in the marketing. I think that sits very well with all the product managers. And I think the unique thing about product management is that the blend or, the curiosity of knowing everything a little bit, like, when you ask questions like why or who is the customer or why are we doing it or why are we solving this problem, and understanding a little bit of everything, every segment of it, is very important. And I think that was my moment when I realized that, okay, I am a little bit here and I'm a little bit there, but I think I can do both. And I think that is what led me to product management.
I think you guys were very lucky that you already knew what product management was, because for me, it was a very different story. Um, so because I was an electrical engineer, we had different courses, just like we do now. We had to build projects, and those projects were actual physical, projects. You'd use your engineering background and to build something new. I always wanted to build something that wasn't out there, and I was a big music enthusiast. I knew how to play the guitar, I knew how to play the drums, and there were some hurdles that I faced while I was learning these instruments. And while I was a student, I wanted to build a drum kit that would teach you to play the drums, and a guitar that would teach you to play a
Mm.
guitar. And I built them, and all the students got really happy. They started praising that project. Whoa, this is really cool, you should do something about it. But even back then, I didn't know what product. I knew I wanted to build stuff, but I didn't know what product management was. So I started my career at Tetra Pak as an engineer. And what I would do there was, there was a digitalization team there. They were trying to digitalize a lot of their processes. They were trying to ease the lives of their customers and Tetra Pak engineers. And I would really, hone in on my skills of building stuff and leverage them, and translate different requirements and give them to the PMs over there. And that's when I understood what product management was. So it took me 5 years to know there's a field here. And once I knew that this is something that I certainly wanted to do.
Great, great. All fun story. I didn't know you were an inventor, but it makes sense now. Great stories, and we'll hit one other prep question before going to the audience questions. So at this point, given your previous answers, you've felt it in your heart, in your soul, that product management is where I want to be. What was your journey like to get to the point that you're at right now? What avenues did you consider? There are a lot of different ways to get to product management. Some are more difficult or highly variable than others, and sort of everyone has a different story. But you chose to come to CMU to study product management specifically, as opposed to an MBA or some other more technical degree. How did that journey look for you?
Yeah, I can start. Yeah, great. Yes, so I think the first of all, I would like to say that uh, when it comes to product management, I think your experience matters a lot, probably more than the theoretical knowledge that we all have. So I think an MBA is too much of knowledge or too generic to be for the product management itself. So given that an experience is important, and given that getting an experience without being a product manager is again a difficult thing. So one thing, I think the first thing that I did is I spoke to so many product managers that I could. I just did cold calling on LinkedIn, and I just reached out to them and just asked them, what does a day look like in your life, or how did you transition into this career? I was fortunate enough to come across this program, and I was going when I was going through the curriculum. I think what I really liked about it was, first of all, a lot of time of the program actually goes into the internship, which is like, giving you hands-on experience of what product management is, what does it look like. A lot of it is going into, I think, live projects, like, for example, capstone, or even the course projects that we are doing. So I feel that there was a lot of interaction with the real world organizations, with the real world product management that was going on. So I think what drew me towards this program was a good balance of theoretical knowledge that, you need to know as a product manager, and also a good opportunity to apply that knowledge hands on, so which gives you, like, experience. So I think that was something that drew me towards this program.
It's a huge difference.
Hmm.
Okay, I'll go next. Yeah, so going back, that aha moment where I realized that I should be doing product management is when I reached out to a lot of people, trying to understand how should I pivot. That is where I got advice that I should probably try internal switch first. So I was working at Samsung as a chief engineer, and I reached out to my director saying that I'm really interested in this field. I don't know if it's for me, but I want to try it out. And my director was very supportive, and he gave me the opportunity to work with the product team there. But since I had a lot of dependencies in terms of owning products, my engineering team didn't let me out completely. So I was like giving 50% of my bandwidth to engineering and 50% of my bandwidth to product. That is where, while working with the product team, I realized that I lacked certain skills which I needed to develop. And also, most of the major strategic decisions for the product were taking place in the US and not in my India office. So I thought that I should be in the US because that is where the tech is, there are a lot of opportunities, and most of the decisions are taken there. Then I searched for, obviously, since I was an international, like I was an Indian citizen coming to the US, I had to do a master's. So I was thinking about an MBA or the MSPM program. Between these two, I feel like why MSPM stood out was, number one, it's a 1 year program compared to a 2 year MBA. So the opportunity cost is less in terms of fees, tuition, and both tuition and living expenses. Second is the summer internship that comes with the MSPM program is like something that uh, is not provided in most of the 1 year programs. So I thought like paying just 1 year fees and then also getting an internship in between is like value for money for me. So I decided that I'll go ahead with the MSPM program.
Thanks, Ankit.
So for me, yeah, I mean, we already, all three of us, I think we already were PMs, and then we found out about the MSPM program. And I think I can speak for all of us here. I think in some capacity we have actually, we've searched on the web for the right certifications or courses, or listened to some product podcasts, or followed the right people on LinkedIn in order to understand how they think. So I was already doing all these certifications online. I was already a PM in different startups, but I had gaps, and I knew that the biggest learning that I would get was when I was talking to real PMs who were like actual good PMs. And so there were a few requirements that I had for myself. Number one, I wanted a fast program. MBA was certainly on the table for me. It was a 2 year program. When I found out about MSPM, obviously this would take precedence since it's only a 1 year program. And the other thing is that you have like all there are you have in a classroom environment, you have different PMs, you have the brightest minds with you. And when you're studying something, be it design, be it engineering, be it business, when you understand how these different people think, I think that's where the maximum learning lies, and that's where I basically learned the most. And I think that's where MSPM certainly stands out. I was like, okay, this is made for PMs. There's gonna be different PMs from all around the world. I'll be in the same classroom, and when I'm there, I would share my perspective, and I will understand how people think differently, and that's where the learning, lies for me.
Thanks, Hassaan. Yeah, you as a group, you covered an extremely common problem that practicing PMs have is that, well, somebody gave me this job and I was never trained to do it. So I've known PMs that have been working for a decade and still have major blind spots because they've not been exposed. I think one of the major ones or most common ones is human-centered design. Like they might have been on a technical end and they're comfortable there, So they've never really gotten the skills to understand the users and the customers. It's such a common example. Now, I'll transition from that into a question that we have in the chat, and it's related to, I come from a military background. Is that compatible with being a product manager? The first thing I'll say is we had our first US Marine last year who graduated, and he not only did he get the highest grade point average that year, but he just had a tremendous experience. He contributed to the leadership skills that you get in the military, the discipline, the way of thinking in terms of systems. He had a great experience himself, and he contributed to everybody else's experience who come from very different backgrounds. It can be, for the right person, a great choice and a great contribution to the community overall, the entire cohort of students. That said, I'll turn this to our panelists. So we know that your peers this year come from varying backgrounds. Most come from a more technical background, but you have some people that come from different either professions or even geographies, whatever it might be. What have you observed with some of those people that are not necessarily ex-developers or engineers? That's the majority in most years, but how have you learned from each other and different backgrounds and that type of thing?
I think I can start. I'm gonna double down on what Ankit said earlier about, having that curious mind. I think it doesn't matter what background you're from, as long as you have that curiosity in you, you ask the right questions. I think that probably is the biggest indicator that product management is the right fit for you. And then obviously once you're in the classroom environment, you have people who have certain experience in this field. You understand how they tackle certain problems, what their perspectives are, and that's when you basically broaden your spectrum of breaking down problems and solving or building the right products.
Yeah. Any other comments, or are we happy? Rupal?
I can add that to what Hassaan said. So as I personally feel that a better product manager is the one, who has more diverse experience, because I have met some of the greatest product managers, and they bring a little bit of experience of everything. So I think it's a very good platform because people from different fields have come here, we interact with them, and we get to learn so much from different domains, that we might not be able to gain otherwise. So yeah, I think that helps. Uh, the more the diverse, the better it is.
Yeah, I think I would like to add that being part of teams, like as part of the curriculum, where we are doing assignments, team projects, working with all these people, you get to learn a lot because we have people from diverse backgrounds. Like Brad mentioned, like we have consultants, we have analysts, we have software engineers, we have ex-product managers. So when we interact with each other, we are solving problems or we are just thinking out loud. We get to know a certain perspective from different sorts of people. So that not only helps you improve becoming a better product manager, but it also gives you some information about where these people are coming from. So in the future, if you are a product manager working with different stakeholders, different cross-functional teams, you know how to interact with them. So I feel like that is something that I also learned in the class while interacting with people from different backgrounds.
Great. Yeah, and even the professors are from different backgrounds. You'll have people that have lived in the design world, in the AI world, and in the presentation and leadership world. It's really a mix of interesting people in this environment. Now, I'm going to bounce back and forth between the chat and the Q&A. It's fine to put your questions in either of those two sections, but it makes navigation a little bit of a challenge. Here's just a straightforward one. How large is the class size? Right now we have 35 students, and we're looking for up to 50 for the incoming class. And just a comment on that, 50 is between 30 and 50 is a nice number. You're not just a name, you're not just a number in a sea of people. Like I think it's easy to say that each of you current students know each of the other students. Like you get to know and understand everybody that you're in class with. And moving on to I anticipated this question, and Carrie, maybe I'll start with you. Considering the current political situation and uncertainty, how will MSPM stand up for students, especially coming in from India, getting good experience in product? Carrie, do you want to talk just about the climate itself?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a totally fair question. I think we all probably anticipated it. Even a couple years ago, I think this question is totally fair. And I think it's more of how Carnegie Mellon will support you. Carnegie Mellon, the Tepper School, the School of Computer Science. I mean, we're all under the larger Carnegie Mellon umbrella, which I think is incredibly the goal of Carnegie Mellon, of Pittsburgh, is to be this welcoming place. And so all are welcome here. All backgrounds are celebrated. All different experiences, things like that. And I think that the way that that comes out, so to not just kind of use words, and I would invite, you know, have conversations with these current students, with any of our student ambassadors. They've not been vetted, they've not been told, say this answer, say that answer, but my recommendation would be to talk about or to talk to the community, and I will speak to the community a bit as well, is that under the kind of Tepper roof, we have full-time MBA students, full-time MSPM students, full-time MS in Business Analytics, full-time MS in Management students. All different backgrounds, all different levels of experience, all different countries that you're coming from. And I think while everybody's not, holding hands and singing through the hallways, I think it's the level of respect. And I think there's a level of desire and genuine appreciation and respect for where folks come from. And so we can talk about Career Center resources, because I think at the end of the question was a little bit about getting help within product. And so that might be a little bit different than I think just the community that we have, and that it's a very intentionally built community. At least for us in admissions, I always say if you show up to your first day of classes or base camp, which is what we call orientation, and you're surprised that there's going to be group work, you're surprised that your classmates are going to want to get to know each other, then in admissions, we've not done our job. We've not done our job enough talking about the culture of Tepper being collaborative and being tight knit. And I think that the different groups I think MSPMs probably will tend to stick together because you're going through the same experience of the curriculum. That's my long answer to say I point it back to the community. It starts at the top with Carnegie Mellon's leadership. It continues into the School of Business leadership, the School of Computer Science leadership, and just, the staff that we have. Like I said, I've been here for 11 years. What keeps me coming back year after year is this belief in that our students are what make us so special and so unique. Their experiences. Carnegie Mellon is a heavily international institution. I'm probably not telling you all anything you don't know. And so it's a lot of the backbone. Pittsburgh, the backbone of Pittsburgh is built by folks who weren't born and raised in Pittsburgh or even in what was, the United States. So but my recommendation to anybody who really wants to know is have a conversation with these students. Talk to them. Nobody's reporting back to admissions and saying these are the types of questions that I was asked, or we're not asking for a transcript of anything. So reach out to the students. I'm speaking for you also. Shake your heads no if you don't want to reach out to you, but you've kind of signed up for it. Reach out to anybody. We can get you in touch. So I can speak about it. I've lived in Pittsburgh a lot of my life, but I've never been an MSPM student. And so that's my recommendation. If you really want to know about the community and how you're supported, ask the people in the community. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, and I'll use that as an opportunity to kind of turn the question in. If you have any insights or observations to the students, I can tell you that looking at their experience from a third person view, these three are absolutely killing it. We just reviewed their internship experiences specifically, and wow is the takeaway. But are there any thoughts on, okay, I'm from another country, I'm in the US, I'm on CMU's campus, I see all these news stories. What is life really like?
I think I can answer that. So I'm from Pakistan. most of my classes, I think like 80%, 85% would be from India, and there are other countries too. I think it's a beautiful place to be in, especially, understanding the political differences that our countries have. But despite all of that, you're still such good friends. And I think Ankit and Rupal would plus one me on that because, and I agree, Brad, that the community that we have, I think the way the MSPM program, the cohort people, the way they, usually go out and know each other and share perspectives, help each other out. I think it's a beautiful community. And on top of that, you have all the resources from CMU itself, resources like the Career Center, the Accelerated Leadership Center. I think all of them combined, you get a really good you get a really good life, honestly. It's more than what I'd anticipated from an MSPM program.
I see a lot of nodding. Anything specific to add, or should we go on to the next question?
I think you can move on.
Yeah, that was well stated. Very well stated. So actually, there are a lot of career-related questions in the chat. So Hassaan, you mentioned the Career Center. Can anybody want to share what your experience from start to this point may have been, and the general support that exists?
Yeah, I think I can take this one. I entered MSPM in round one. So I was in touch with the career center, I think very early on. I think almost same time last year, I think July or something like that. And I think that is the best thing. I mean, I think 6 months before even starting the program, I was already tailoring my resume. And, I was already getting insights on how to go about, I think internship was the first target. So how to go about applying for the internships, how to go about preparing for the interviews and other things like that. So I think resume tailoring has been the best, best part of, I think I would say, the career center here at Tepper, at least for me, putting in all the right keywords and framing our experience in a way that is more appealing to the modern product management world, what's going on in there. So I think in that way, it has been one of the best experience. And secondly, mock interviews. I think the more you do mock interviews, the more you practice is the better for you. And I think the best part is again that the career center is always available to hear your answers, or try to structure it better or improvise on it. So I think please leverage it. I mean, whenever you are here at school, please leverage your career counselor, mail them, schedule meetings with them, schedule one-on-one with them, and be honest with them, like what's going on. And and I'm damn sure they'll help. So yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to add to what Rupal has said. So there are two things here. First is the MCC, which is called the Masters Career Center. And then we have something called the ALC, which is the Accelerated Leadership Center, which often goes unnoticed and is not marketed that well. But even when I came, I didn't know that this existed. Like it was not part of why I took the decision to pursue the MSPM program. But I think that has been the best, most useful resource that I have utilized from Tepper. Uh, they help you with mock interviews. They help you position your story in front of hiring managers. They also help you improve your leadership and communication skills. So we have counselors from the ALC who take sessions with you, and then they ask you what you want to, how you want to improve, what do you want, what are you trying to achieve, and then they lay out a path for you on how you can achieve it based on where you are right now, right? So I feel ALC has been super helpful for me personally.
Great. Hassaan, any additional thoughts, or shall we
I
move
think
on?
I think they summed it up pretty well. I'm just gonna say that for me, MCC was where I really honed on my interviewing skills, my resume building skills, because there's a certain way you look at your resume, you think this is the perfect one, but then when you have like an actual expert on it, viewing from their eyes, you find a lot of flaws. And for me, I think that was like a really big moment where I felt like, oh wow, I really wasn't thinking from this front. And then again, ALC certainly is like a really good resource, I think, here at Tepper.
Yeah, yeah. And just to answer directly the question about placement data, so the way that placement data works is it needs to be compiled for 7 months or several months after graduation. We have the tentative stats on the website right now, and that's an average salary, base salary of 147,000. And at the point that it was tentative, we have 89% of last year's students with offers. And there are some other questions about the market difficulty. The market is not what it was in 2022, that's for sure. But when you look at our students' performance compared with, well, compare it with whatever you choose, uh, it's it's really impressive and successful what they've been able to accomplish. And actually, as those numbers start to become formal, which should be a number of days, like we ought to be updating the website extremely soon. So if you're interested, that should be in a few days, and it should be better than what we're posting as tentative numbers. And it's on par with the best MBAs and that type of thing too. So good question, relevant question. We'll see what else we got. Carrie, are there any good ones that feel free to chime in if you want to?
Yeah, I think so. I've been trying to kind of, if there were just some like simple questions, type them in, but I think maybe a theme, maybe there's two themes, but first would just be, and we've kind of answered around this, but really like who are we looking for? And I can take this one, but I just kind of wanted, what I'm seeing is maybe not so much who are we looking for, but what makes a successful candidate. You know, there's different backgrounds. So I'm looking at Donald's question in the chat, which is a really good one, and just some other folks who have talked about just specific things with backgrounds. I'm happy to start and kind of share a little bit more about what I think makes, or what admissions thinks makes a successful candidate, and then have you, Brad, if you want to add in
Yeah,
on
please.
anything, and then our students, and then I think maybe a next step or next one we may want to talk about it, because Ankit and Hassaan, I know Rupal, you have your MBA, is maybe that like, how do you walk that line between, do I get my MBA, what I've just learned about this MSPM, maybe I have my MBA. So I'm also kind of seeing a little bit of a theme. So I think we talk about who makes a good candidate, and then maybe we head into, is MSPM right for me? Cool. Okay.
Perfect.
So for Donald, for the other folks who were wondering, so what makes a successful candidate? So spoiler alert, there's no secret. There's no like secret sauce or anything. There's no one GMAT score, one GRE, one educational background, some things that we're looking for, and some things that I think help you to be successful. So number one is we need, well, kind of one has two buckets. Can you pass your classes, right? So you're taking graduate level business classes and graduate level computer science classes. So years and years ago, when this first launched, we would say we want software engineer backgrounds, or we want this type of computer background, and have kind of learned that and the reason that we said that, it was well intentioned. The reason we said that is, hey, we need you to have the quantitative ability, the ability to get through these and pass these quantitative classes, these computer science programming classes. I think as the program has evolved, we've learned there are other ways that you can demonstrate the aptitude for those classes. So it's in maybe some classes that you've taken. Have you taken any edX, or have you taken any sort of open source sorts of things? So for somebody who has a degree in humanities, I'm, as someone who has an English degree, I suspect you didn't have a heavy amount or a significant amount of technical courses. So for somebody who's coming in, or looking to apply from a non-technical background, that's great. That's okay. But what we would be looking for from the admissions committee, though, is what is your technical aptitude? What have you done? What's in your background? Whether it be things you've learned on the job, so via your resume. There's an essay question a short answer, where we ask you your programming experience. We're not testing you, but the reason being is, like I said, it's a 1-year program. So you're going to kind of jump right into these technical classes, and we want to see that background. So the second piece is the employability and the career piece of what have you done, what's in your background to get you to where you want to go. We know everybody's ultimate goal is to be a product manager, but at what level? Do you want to be more of a technical PM, which is what our program is geared towards? But is there something else that you think, okay, maybe I want to be a product marketing manager, things like that? So there's those two buckets that we look for in candidates. That is no secret recipe of, I'm an engineer who was an engineer, now I can go be a product manager. Okay, but do you have the the people skills? Do you have the critical thinking? Do you have the ability to be that bridge and to not have direct, direct authority over any set group, but you're kind of that one that has to span? So I think that it's all of those things to think about. So if you're, whether you're coming in with a humanities background, engineering, English, math, what we're going to look for are those technical skills, but also just ability to be successful in that career search. Knowing though that you have that one-on-one relationship with the Master's Career Center. So we're going to provide the support, but you kind of provide those upfront skills. So I'm going to pause right there and see if there's anything to add.
Yeah, it reminds me, one of our professors has a quote that product managers need to be above average at everything. And that sounds, I see a lot of knowing nods on the panel here. That might sound intimidating, but the reality is most incoming students we talked about gaps earlier. We don't expect incoming students to be superstars on every criteria. Instead, most people come in generally really good at something, and that something could be design, it could be programming, it could be like consulting, that type of stuff. And they realize, like, normally some of your classes are like, I already know a lot of what's being taught here, but then other classes are totally like mind-blowing new concepts that you've never even heard before. And that's where the mix comes in. And like we discussed earlier, we have a healthy mix of backgrounds for the students. So, and I think the bottom line that I would think of as it relates to the question and the Carrie's response is that if you're worried, or if you have self-doubts related to, is this program for me, or might I fit, or will CMU accept me? Don't filter yourself out. Like, this is the same job application advice I give to the students is, if you decide that you're not capable, well, then you don't give the chance to the hiring manager to make that choice for you. So the best thing you can do is put your best foot forward, and we gave the code. There's no cost to apply. There's nothing to lose at this point. And I'll also add, some of our best students historically have not been computer scientists, have not been engineers. The highest grade point average 3 years ago was a woman from a biology background, and very little in terms of direct, technical PM experience, but life experience and professional experience and transferable skills that just she was able to come in and just grasp what was necessary. So there's I would say, don't overthink, am I good enough, is kind of my takeaway. I don't know, this might not be as much a student question, but do you guys have any other thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'd like to add, since I'm a MSPM ambassador and I've been getting a lot of questions related to the same question, is that there's a notion that Carnegie Mellon courses are very heavy in terms of coursework or difficult to get through, right? So let me make it clear that, like, the MSPM program overall, it's not that difficult, because, like, to what Hassaan mentioned earlier, we are a close group of like around 40 students, and we help each other a lot. So uh, having this group, having people, you learn from them, you help each other, and then it's pretty easy, to be honest, to complete this course. It's not that difficult when compared to other courses offered by Carnegie Mellon, like the computer science or the robotics courses. Just wanted to answer that.
And I'd say also, like, from an admission standpoint, from what we'd like to see is, you have to be able to tell your own story, right? You have to be able to tell us what you do have. And so, not that this comes across, but like, what kind of applicant would just be like, let me tell you all the things that I'm not. Tell the admissions committee what, and so it almost sounds like the start of like a movie or something. But we have an optional, so we have a required essay, a video essay where you tell us what you want to do and what your goals are. But then there's an optional essay. It's truly optional, but one of my biggest pieces of advice, if you've ever heard me talk on a webinar across our programs, is use the optional essay to your benefit. If you think start to finish your application tells the complete story, there's not really any holes, there's nothing that the admissions committee is going to look at and be like, I wonder what that means, then you don't need to submit the optional essay. I would think that's very rare of someone who doesn't think, hey, there's a little bit more I'd like to explain. So in the spirit of this question, perhaps it's, let me tell you a little bit more about what my background is, the kind of independent learning that I've done. The optional essay doesn't have to be this 5-paragraph, beautifully crafted essay. It can be 3 points of, here's just the additional things that I want to tell the admission committee about. Sometimes it's a gap in a resume or a lower GPA than you may have wanted to see. We all have had undergraduate careers that we can't go back and change. So use that optional essay, but in the spirit of this question and what we've been talking about is, you tell the story. You tell the admission committee, and which the admission committee includes the program team, the career center. Tell us what you do think makes you a good fit for this and the research that you've done to get yourself there.
Hey, real quick, I'm not sure whether we have a hard cutoff at the hour, but yeah, it went fast. I'm going to just show some quick contact information. So this is our website, ms-product-management.cmu.edu. That's where you can find everything we discussed and a little more, and contact information. And then just to reiterate, this is a 1-year STEM degree. We're taking applications now for classes that start in January. So if there are visa concerns or I need to get my life in order, all that kind of stuff, like this is kind of ideal timing in all honesty. And then you can use the application code CLEAR26 to apply without a fee. Now, that said, Mike, are we able to take some more questions live, or do we have a hard cutoff?
Totally up to y'all. I'll be
Okay.
here with you.
Panelists, we didn't plan for this, so if you need to drop and get back to work or anything like that, feel free. If you're able to stay, we can look at some of these additional questions. Carrie, are there any others that jumped out at you?
No, if we want to head down the MBA or MSPM, or scholarship opportunities, yes, every applicant is considered for merit-based scholarships. So I'll just quickly answer that. They're small. They're not going to be anything life-changing. We try and do maybe just a little bit of help when it comes to maybe book or something like that. But yes, every applicant is considered for merit-based scholarship. So I'll just answer that one. I think the others were maybe a little bit larger, or more philosophical. So
let's see. People also decide, do you plan to? So for the question that there are also people studying to become PMs in the MBA program here, and this is worth clarifying. We have the business school has an MBA program. It has a tech track for the MBA, which is similar but different from the PM program. We are, like we said, that's a 2-year program. We're a 1-year program, and the MBA is it's more MBA oriented. It's more general, deeper into the business side. It's not as heavy on the human-centered design side. Students, do you have any other thoughts on what you've seen as in terms of differences between the TEP or MBA and MSPM?
Yeah, I can take that one. I think MBA is, it gives you so for example, if you are very sure that you want to be a product manager, I don't think you should even think about MBA, because then MSPM provides everything that you need to be a PM, and MBA adds on to this. It's like a more broader program. It gives you more generic skill set, and you don't necessarily need to become a PM after doing an MBA. You can be a marketing person, you can be a product person, you can be a consulting person. It's just like a broader skill set. But if you're very sure that yes, PM is your thing, then I don't think, it makes sense to do an MBA. I think an MSPM covers most of it.
Yeah. That's a good answer. And going back to is the MSPM degree right for me? The very first question is, do I want to be a product manager? Like if I want to be in logistics or healthcare or something, like we're not even having the right conversation. So that's the first question in the progression of self-assessment. And it's like, I always tell people, like, most of your courses are titled Business Fundamentals for Product Managers, HCI for like it's for product managers specifically. And that's the biggest difference, is generalization versus specialization.
Yeah,
Let's see.
totally agree, Brad. I just want to add one point, that another difference between the MBA and the MSPM program is that we have courses from the HCI Institute, which is the Human Computer Interaction, which is our design school. So we get to enroll in classes from that school. So we get to learn about user experience design. We have a lot of projects where we actually design prototypes using Figma and all of that. So that was something that MBAs cannot do. And on top of that, we also are enrolled in a technical elective, which comes from the School of Computer Science. So I feel these two things are also something that differentiates the MBA program, MSPM program, compared to the MBA program.
Yeah, yeah. And if your answer regarding career is, well, I want to be in technology, but I'm not sure what role, or I want to be much more involved in the business side and have a deeper education specifically in business, then the MBA is great for that too. Or like a lot of the MBAs who go into the tech track are either aiming at consulting or product management or something similar to those. So that's what I mean by generalization. It's not as specific and specialized and focused as the PM program. So it can be confusing to navigate. Carrie, is there anything else that we're leaving out of that from an admission standpoint?
I think just talk, again, ask questions, on our website, on our MSPM website is a list of student ambassadors. On the MBA website, I mean, we're all kind of same team under the same roof, but certainly different, the MSPM wouldn't exist if you could get the same thing with the MBA with a product management track. So absolutely there are differences. I think it's just knowing personally what you want. Have conversations with us in admissions, talk to an MBA, talk to an MSPM student, and kind of gather that data.
Okay, I see a question about when the next recruiting cycle is, because this person has not graduated yet. We normally, from the spring through the summer, that's when our recruiting cycles are, and then we prepare the students to enter during the fall, and that's a 1-year cycle, so it starts over every year, same timing, roughly same timing.
Yep.
Are there any? Forgive me, it's tough to scan 2 lists and talk.
I've been kind of keeping up. I think we're pretty good. Mike has said I think we're pretty caught up in the chat, or we are caught up in the chat. And I think the Q&A we've talked, I don't know that you've like read it and answered it, but we've talked about both of those themes.
Yeah.
So I do think we're caught up.
All right. I think it's time to thank, especially the panelists. The stories were everything I hoped for, and even better. And thanks, Mike, and thank you to everybody who joined us.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Clear Admit.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for inviting us. This was a great session.
It was.
Yeah.
And good luck to all the aspirants.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye-bye.